So, my dear students, it is time to deal with project planning. Today we need to understand what approaches towards project planning we may take. It is going to be more overall. I'm going to compare, let's say, what I call European approach and American approach. You will see, and we'll try to understand first of all what is project creation in order to make it easier for us. In general, I will try also to demonstrate that whatever approach you take, it is more or less the same, because, well, project planning and project management, it is a kind of a consistent body of knowledge. Okay, so to begin with, it's not that easy to create anything, and it is even more demanding to create a project. The problem is really what to begin with, and how not to be overwhelmed by this everything that we need to plan. So sometimes it's not that easy, you don't know what to begin with, but there's a solution. There is a solution that I will try to show you. In order to do so, we need to first of all think what are projects. Well, one of the approaches is that it is actually a creative solution to a problem. Okay, so a project is a solution to a problem. I have found this picture somewhere in the net, which means that let me show you. Which means that what you do in order to solve a problem is to identify the problem, then to explore everything you need to know about it and about possible solution. Then you need to select the best idea. Then you test the idea, test your solution, and then you evaluate the results. So if we think deeply about that, what it may recall to us is yes, it is what we used to call a project life cycle. Our project life cycle that we already know is a little bit as problem solving. So this alone shows us that, well, creating a project is problem solving. So if we get back to the first question, what is actually hard to begin with, what is actually hard to in project creation is, and it is often the very beginning. Then we may answer that the very beginning always it should be to select and to define your problem. Once you have your problem defined, the rest is just finding the solution and designing all the solution. So first of all, define your problem. It is what you need to do, it is what needs to be solved, and it is what you begin with. It opens the path before you, and it allows you to go through it right away. This way you don't need to think about everything anymore. You just think about your problem, exactly what you need to do, what you need to solve. Of course, sometimes it takes a lot of attention and time to solve a problem, but it is much better to have a problem to solve than not to know what you actually want to solve. Okay, so having a problem is not a problem. I mean, having a problem is something that you actually want to have if you understand what we mean by the problem. I will describe it in a moment. We are going to talk about different kinds of projects today, but in case of, let's say, social projects, we can use the following order when we create them. So we can show the steps like 1, 2, 3 and so on, what to do to solve, to create your project. And it all begins with your problem that you need to find and define, and then you have your objectives, your products, your results, your influence and your actions in the end. So this is the path, this is our path, this is the path that we need to take, and this is what direct our thinking onto a particular direction, and this is quite good. I mean, you don't need to think about everything, you just think about the things that you need to think about. Okay, so let's go through all those steps now. So what is a problem? Because as I've said, problem is not necessarily anything bad. I mean, this is a situation. It can also be an opportunity. Of course, it can be a kind of incorrectness, but actually this is the thing that you need to deal with. Let's say that in your business project it can be the fact that the time of servicing one customer, an average customer, is just too long. It's just too long, and you can even show by how much it is too long. So provided you have your problem, then you can move on. So let's assume that we have created our problem. So a problem is a description of the situation, and the next thing to do is to think about your objectives. Your objectives are the answer to the problem, and so this is how the chain begins. I mean, the chain of thinking. You have your problem. Once you have your problem, then you go to your objectives. This is why the problem is so important, and this is how everything is going to go smoothly. You can plan your results afterwards. Let's say that we want to have the service time per customer to be just 1 minute and no longer. So you have previously described your problem. Now you have set your objective, and this is it. So this is, let's say, the core of your project. We can talk about the objectives a little bit more. As someone once said, there is a great difference between doing something properly and doing something that is proper. As you may guess, the second thing, I mean doing the good things, is more important. The first thing is just the technique, okay? So yeah, you of course should be good at designing things and executing them and so on. You need to be productive and so on. But the second thing, I mean doing good things, so setting the good objectives, is the one most important thing here. This is the crucial thing. This is the essential thing. So first you need to set the right objective, and everything else just follows this objective. So there is this technique that we call SMART, and it is used between other things and fields. It is used to plan the good objectives. So smart objectives are specific, which means that they can be easily shown. Okay, so you know exactly what you want to do, and they are not too broad. I mean, let's say that in case of, let's say, a social or economic project, well, there is, let's say that we have a recession or something, and our broad aim would be to decrease the unemployment rate. Yeah, but you cannot do it with just one project. So if you could make 1,000 people get better jobs, it could be specific enough. Increasing the level of employment in all the country with one project, it cannot be done. Okay, measurable, which means that your objectives must be you need to be able to show your objectives using numbers, because numbers counts. Attainable, which means that, yeah, possible. Relevant, so important to you, to other people, and time bound. You need to be able to show exactly when you want to achieve the objective. So the SMART approach always applies when we talk about the objectives. Some good examples. So the objective of our project is to create 20 jobs for unemployed people under 25 living in Myślenice in 6 months in time starting from the 1st January of 2020. So you know exactly what to do. Okay, you have the numbers. It is unattainable, it is time bound because there is time, and so on. So it is a good example. It's not too broad, it is specific, it meets all the letters. Or we aim at building a solar power plant, and this is the power of it, in Bochnia by the end of, with connection to the. So it is also set exactly what and where and when, which makes it suitable as a goal, as an objective of a project. I usually try not to show the bad examples, but sometimes I do. So there are some bad examples. Our project will lower the unemployment rate in our community very soon. So we don't know what is the rate at the moment, and what does it mean to lower by 1% or 1% or 10% on 1,000 people. We do not know. Looking at that, which makes it unmeasurable. Very soon is not time bound actually, and so on and so on. So this is not the way how we do it. We intend to improve the standard of living in our city due to this project incredibly. So incredibly is also not easy to measure. Okay, and it is not time bound and so on. In our city, well, okay, we can assume that we know the city, but maybe we don't know exactly the boundaries, whatever. The best project, nice project name, by the way, will deliver results like shortening the commuting time by 1/3. I strongly recommend not to use names like. I mean, like means in this case maybe yes, maybe not, something like that. Okay, more or less. We cannot use it because it is not measurable. So this is the white approach. We cannot do it. So try to stick to the right objectives. First of all, having the objectives, we can move to the product of our project. This is what we get directly for the resources that we spend on our project. It can be like machines, hours of language course, whatever, or a computer system supporting customer service in our example, of course. Please remember that not always it is something that you would create as a new product.